Selamat pagi and welcome to Bali on the Pacific Ring of Fire for this new moon in Gemini, according to Jyotish and Sidereal astrology. And there has been so much unfolding since your full moon gathering with Casey and Carrie on the solstice that we'd like to share with you all today. Those that are journeying with us and those that have yet to meet us in cyberspace on this recording. So let us begin by going through the alignment process together. You are welcome to sound, breathe, move your body if that will support this process. So aligning physical, mental, and emotional bodies. Aligning with all-pervading soul or higher self, whatever you refer, and your monadic galactic selves. Thinking a luminous thread deep down from the root, the base, the womb space, through the floor, the soils, the sands, the bedrocks, the waters, into the molten core in the heart of Gaia. And inhaling that energy up through the feet, the legs, the hips, the pelvic bowl, the belly, and the heart with sound. Activating the earth star, 1 foot beneath the feet, connecting through the divergent meridians of the planetary body and those primordial elemental energies of creation and their infinite potential as we invite them up through our pillars. To cleanse, clear, and purify, to regenerate, rejuvenate, and recalibrate. All the way up to the soul star, 1 foot above the head, and inviting those celestial energies down to meet the terrestrial energies coming up. And inviting those energies to mix and mingle in your Cusco and your belly and throughout your entire system, activating our golden toroidal fields and harmonizing our golden toroidal field with the toroidal field of the planetary body. Surrendering through the core of Source in the heart of Gaia, where the new earth architecture emerges. Through the core of Source in our own heart spaces. Through the core of Source in the heart of the Sun and the great central Sun. Through the core of Source in the heart of the Moon and in the heart of Theia. And activating our solar and lunar discs. And surrendering through the core of Source and the galactic center through to Homo Universalis, our ancient future selves, and inviting them into the now. Into the body, the bubble, the being, into this time-space continuum at this point of the planet. Inhaling, exhaling the sound, And with our consciousness on the first exhalation, we're strengthening and fortifying our own pillar. Harmonizing our own pillar with the point on the planet where we are located today. On the third inhalation, harmonize our pillars around the planet, around the planetary body. So that we may open to receive all of the information that will be shared during our journey this new moon. As I pass you on to Casey.
Welcome, everyone. We will stay in circle with our hearts and souls united as one and amplifying our unique pillar, our energy source. As we step into circle with one another, our fields are amplified. They are reflected, mirrored to one another. As our mirrors come into the center, we connect to source and we expand out in all directions, down into inner earth, up into the cosmic spaces. We are connected to all beings. And welcoming into our circle now those beings of the seen and the unseen realms that wish to be acknowledged, that wish to share information and codes in the circle today. All the elemental beings, the representations of water that wish to come forward, the inner earth rivers and lakes, from the crystal core of Gaia, those most ancient waterways carrying the codes of knowledge, of information, of the ancient timelines wishing to come forward, to be renewed, rebirthed, recognizing that those codes hold the keys for unlocking our future places and spaces. The energetic pathways between all land masses, all of the ley lines, both in the inner earth and outside, and in the cosmic space. All layers and dimensions of connection come forward at this time. We also recognize into the circle the energetics of the volcano consciousness, which have been ever present this week. All of those volcano beings on the ring of fire that communicate and connect through their own pathway, through their own energetic code. Those carrying the codes of the cosmic spaces as cosmic portals, and watching as their evolution takes place along with ours. And watching as the undersea volcanoes are coming up to be participants in the new. Calling into our circle now our animal allies. Those who we work with on an individual basis and those who are here for our collective support. Calling in our cetacean nations and our dolphin families. And calling in the species of all the rays. Calling in the connection of our star families and the stars themselves, the solar entities, the beings of the suns wish to come forward and be part of the circle. As the solar consciousness and activators of the human body, creating the pathway for the DNA to step forward and shift and emerge through light consciousness, through light dancing on our fields, and through light dancing through our physical systems. It is through our light bodies that we step into our higher paths, our higher roles, our cosmic selves. Those learning to live off breath and life alone of a light path, entering into the mastery field. Acknowledging those brothers and sisters who have taken that path. Recognizing the plant kingdoms, our plant allies, our medicine keepers on this earth. Those who hold the keys for wisdom, for healing. Keeping our energy systems of our bodies at the highest rate, highest vibration by working with the plants. Calling into connection now our dragon families, our dragon aspects of self, and all of the dragon races that wish to come forward and support us. Acknowledging that there is a race of the most ancient nature that was a creator race that wishes to come forward. An off-planet race. Calling in the dragons of Gong at this time to come and take place in the circle today. Carrying the codes of all the dragon races as the origin source of one. Recognizing that these are the giant beings that are wishing to come forward and be birthed again as key holders to the portals. It is through this most ancient lineage that will enlighten the star maps that are not yet in our awareness. Because they are further than our furthest outreaches of our perception space. These dragons are masters of time and space and helping to bring forth our ancient future timelines. As our creator allies, we need them and they need us to complete the mission. As the future of Earth, because they carry the codes of the most ancient ones. There is an activation and alignment when you step into the merge consciousness with these beings. Feeling into their heart spaces and going in deeper, asking to remember the DNA codes that they carry. Those ancient codes are ready to come online for those that carry those DNA codes of the Gong. This will not resonate with many, but it will resonate with those who wish and want and know it is part of their pathway. Remember, dear ones, that it is always a choice to upgrade up level. It is through each of these choices that the new timelines can come online. When you step more fully into who you are because of who you have been. And remember, unlocking your own keys for enlightenment. We welcome you fully into our consciousness space. You are loved, dear ones. Thank you for remembering. You too now hold the keys for these portal spaces. The inter-earth skyways and highways. There are more star maps to come online. This is just the beginning of our adventures together. Thank you for saying yes. You will now have access to new overlays of reality. Seeing beyond the dimensional realms into the possibilities. Taking some time to anchor in these codes. We welcome you to have this information drop in throughout your circle space today into your field to be absorbed. We will be with you through your entire journey today. Thanking the Gong beings for being here with us. We will slowly make our pathways back to our individual spaces of our circle, allowing for more information to come forward at this time to be shared through the heart spaces of each in order for the codes to reach completion of what needs to be shared today. So breathing a little life back into our bodies and adding a little gentle movement. Anchoring into our physical spaces, that our consciousness may continue in the flow, yet be ever grounded into our space. When you're ready, breathe a little deeper, add a little movement to your body, and open your eyes and coming in fully.
Thank you, Casey, and this warm welcome to and from the Gong dragons. So I'd like to start by making a correction. When we were working with the sacred land that is calling me to Kaitiaki on the far northeast coast of Aotearoa, New Zealand, when that dragon first awakened, we thought it was an ancient dragon of Mu, and in fact, it's actually one of the ancient dragons of Gong that is much older. As Casey introduced the Gong dragons, they are the original and ancient creator race of dragons that have been involved with this planetary journey since the beginning of time. And they were brought into my awareness in a meeting I had with Isha, which you'll find on the same YouTube channel. A couple of weeks ago, we had that meeting. And that was when we were also shown that there are 12 dragons of Gong. They're also the guardians of the 12 solar discs. They're interconnected with one another. And that's when we were brought into the awareness that the second one will be awakened here in West Bali during the course of the earthwork that's unfolding now. So it's important to bring that correction into the field, and also to thank you all for gathering on June solstice. When I was deep in my cave in my Ayurveda retreat, I unplugged and went offline for 9 days, and it was extremely powerful, both personally and planetary, and lots of deep work, and very much working with the stone circles that your meeting was orientated around. I was weaving with the stone circles, the planetary pyramid system, and the inner earth crystalline structures on the planet throughout that process over solstice. And it was recalibrating the different systems and reconnecting the different systems. Once upon a time, they were all in connection, and they are coming back into interconnection. And I'm wondering if you'd like to expand on that at all, Casey, before we open into North Bali and Lee.
No, let's dive into the North Bali a little bit, and then I will share a bit more.
Okay. So as I emerged from my cave and did need a few days of integration, while Casey was circumambulating the planet on a 40-hour journey from her home in North America through LA, across the North Pole, down through Doha and into Asia, which was a really interesting route to take before she arrived in Bali and into North Bali and into GAIA Oasis on the Bali Sea, where we were based for the first days of her integration and recalibration, and our visit to Les Waterfall, which we were aware was a site of the third solar disk that had been switched on during a previous call, but was waiting for us to go into the valley, into Les Valley, and into the field for it to be turned up, if that makes sense. And it was a really interesting journey on many levels. And we were shown the significance of having those 3 solar discs in Lago Atitlán, Guatemala, Lago Titicaca, Peru, Bolivia, and Les in Singaraja, the district of the Lion King in North Bali. And then I will let you, Casey, unpack that journey.
What was interesting about that was that we connected in, and the solar disc, those 3 came into harmonics, but also the rest of the 12 then went through an amplification, and it felt like they came into the same harmonic resonance as the 3 that were active, almost allowing for when they turn on fully that it will be just a shift for them. It won't be a huge endeavor, because they are already now been kind of primed with that energetic field of the 3 that are in full harmonic resonance and active on all fields. And while I was there, the guides were asking me to put my specific codes onto the one in Les, and then it amplified my field also. And Leanne went through an upgrade where she had the solar disc turned on in her system as an upgrade for her system. It's something unique that she holds in connection with the solar discs themselves. It's different than my connection or Carrie's connection. So it has to do with her personal work with the solar discs. Leanne, do you want to share what that was like for you?
My feeling is that I'm still integrating that shift, but the understanding that I was given, it would support my human system with the enormous amount of work it does on the planetary field, that it takes me a lot of maintenance and care to be able to maintain my physical body when it's working so much and so constantly. And the understanding that I was given is with this next level of activation and integration, it's going to support my capacity so that it's not so taxing on my human body. And that I'm very much excited about and looking forward to. And the other thing is what it showed us, where my system's been very involved with the first 3 solar discs, that it's not that I no longer have to go physically to the other 9 either, and that they can be turned on when those holding the keys and codes for them have reached a level of embodiment in themselves and able to be able to interact with the solar discs. So there's another 9 people who hold keys and codes for these solar discs, and it's not as though they can still be wandering around with a 3D experience expecting that to go off. I'm sure it would support their journey of awakening if they bumped into the field of other solar discs or solar discs carrying them, but they actually have to be at a embodied level of consciousness in order for that solar disc to be fully activated. So that was our weaving in Les. And there was a whole lot of other things that unfolded as we sat at Anna's temple afterwards. I'm just checking if there's anything. It was mainly what unfolded after that was brought into our awareness what was likely to unfold in the journey ahead, in the days ahead since then. And our next stop after GAIA Oasis in North Bali was actually to the northernmost point in Bali. And this is really interesting for those of us, for those who've been following my recent sacred journeys. You might remember Jeff and Jasmine, who I lived with in Uluwatu for many months, also joined us in the last Egyptian sacred journey and in the Peru sacred journey. And they are guardians of land in the southernmost point of Bali, Indonesia. And they, out of a synchronistic course of events, became the custodians of a point in the northernmost point of Bali as well. And we had tuned in at a distance to their relationship with this land, and also to the relationship with the New Earth architecture. And Jeff had been a guardian of this land in previous timelines, which he needed to bring into resolution, and also to recalibrate his own system in order to interface with what wishes to be birthed through that point in northern Bali and land through there in the New Earth architecture. And it was really beautiful to share that journey with him and with Jasmine and with Casey as we unpacked that. And this site in North Bali has presented as one point of 12 points on the planet that are likely to become manifest as, how to describe it, as a destination and center of facilitation for the next wave of incoming galactics, which was really exciting to see how these 12 points on the planet will be consciously stewarded at the New Earth frequencies and maintained at them, so that these young ones that are landing into our planet as of the last 2 years will be able to come, interact with one another, and remember themselves without forgetting, and all their gifts and their cities and their psychic abilities, so that they will not have any limitation on their potential of creation in the New Earth systems and structures. So that was our next destination, right up there in North Bali. A very old land, a very magical land, and one where there is both inner Earth and galactic gateways. So if we pause there for a minute, I don't know if Casey, if there's anything you'd like to add there, or if anybody has any contributions or questions to the field so far.
Hold on, my internet is a little unstable.
While you're reconnecting, I can continue into our journey into the western end of Bali, which is a grand adventure because it's a part of Bali I've been called to, but I never actually come to until we arrived here a few days ago. And we came here thinking that we were going to be working with the second dragon of Gong, and found out in a very short space of time that the universe had other plans first. And it was really interesting arriving into this harbor that takes you out to Majangan Island and connects through to the volcanoes in the eastern end of Java. And when I first looked out here, I saw a lot of old pirate ships and buccaneer sailing ships and all sorts of things. And we had to do a lot of housework as soon as we arrived. But what we discovered is this point on the planet is the Asian port So the way it's like this massive spaghetti junction that gives access to our intra-earth pathways and our galactic pathways. And there's lots that pass in and out and through this port. And we were shown that this is one of 4 ports on the planet, that they're all on across the main continents, that the one in South America is in Costa Rica, that the one in Africa is in Gabon, and that the 4th one is actually in the Middle East. And they were ones that all got compromised during the Great Fall, the Great Flood, and the collapse of the firmament. And they will come back online one at a time. So this is where we have arrived into. And after doing a load of housework on our day of arrival yesterday, we were taken out to weave together from Casey on Majangan Island. I was underwater, about 20 meters, scuba diving, and that connected us through to the largest volcano here in East Java that connects through to Gong. And I'll invite Casey to expand on that for you.
So we were working with the volcanoes yesterday. And what we were doing was both physical kind of energetic work, helping them clear out their cosmic pathways, and then opening up the communication field between the volcanoes themselves. There was a little bit of the volcanoes in Java were showing me that there was a little bit of indigestion, that they couldn't quite put their energy all the way through to the volcanoes here in Bali, that the information was getting stuck, and then it was building up, and then they would erupt, and then they would send energy back over to Bali, and Bali couldn't respond fully, so he would kind of get indigestion and he would erupt. And so it was almost like they had lost their original communication pathways, that they were having to like push and shove that energy in different ways, almost like smoke signals or smoke screens to kind of communicate to each other. And so we were clearing up that for them so they could communicate through their energetics or through their ley lines underneath the ocean and have that reestablished. And then we did another layering of energetic grid work on top of that. There was 3 different layers that we did yesterday of energetic grid work, laying the foundation for the entirety of the Ring of Fire volcanoes to come online. Their physical ley lines, their energetic ley lines, and then their cosmic ley lines all wanted to be activated through the work that we were doing yesterday. So Leanne was under the ocean, connecting the switchboard down there, and I was connecting from felt like a lighthouse or a vortexy spot that held a lot of energy to send my energy out to the volcanoes themselves.
And it was really interesting. Yeah, because it wasn't a one-day job. It's a process. Again, just like everything that was shut down, it can only be brought online in increments. The same as our personal systems, really. You know, if a human being's kundalini is awakened when they haven't done their clearing, it can cause a lot of trauma and it can cause physical injury. And it's really important that our energy systems, personal and planetary, are brought online incrementally, because it saves a massive amount of chaos. And this process we've got there's like 4 stages and 3 pieces in each stage. And yesterday we worked through stage 1 and 2 of the process. On Sunday, we'll be going through stage 3 of this process. And on Tuesday, stage 4 of the process. And this all is required to unfold before the Gong dragon here in West Bali will be ready to awaken. Any more you wish to add to that, Casey?
It feels like there's a connection between the volcano systems and Bodhi's white pyramids that he was talking about last week, a few weeks ago. Almost as if they fit into one of the higher grids that we kind of turn online by Tuesday, feels like then the white pyramids will be able to be, the energetic white pyramids will be able to be established.
Yeah, as you say that, I'm seeing them. It's almost like with the volcanoes, because it's like the stone circles have needed to come back into recalibration and reconnection, the crystalline systems, the planetary pyramid systems, and these white pyramids feel like they're the etheric counterparts of the volcanoes, and that's how they connect as well on the etheric level. Wow, thank you for that.
So thank you, Bodhi, for bringing that into the field.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. It was very specific, even though we wished to make a later timing for today so that more could join from UK and Europe. We were given this early morning time quite specifically. And the reason I kept getting it's to do with the Pacific Ring of Fire. And what's really interesting is that everyone we've got here gathered today is in Bali and in South Korea. So we're on this western side of the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is the one that we're beginning to wake up with the Gong dragons around, because they've shown us that we're starting Aotearoa, New Zealand, Bali, Indonesia, and there's one more. I think it's in Sulawesi before Japan, and it goes all the right way round to Antarctica, where the 12th dragon is. So it's really interesting that everyone on this line that we're walking right now is online today. So on that note, does anyone else have any questions or contributions to the field today?
So talking about the height pyramid, should I go to the place to anchor the white pyramid again?
It doesn't feel necessary, Bodhi. They're etheric, and it's about you coming into resonance with them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do need to go, you will know. If you need to go everywhere, anywhere, if anyone needs to go anywhere, it's very much a soul calling. I need to be there then, and we show up. A bit like my soul calling was to West Bali, and I get here and they're like, upstairs has my diary, and they said, we need you to extend your stay for 8 days out here. I'm like, okay. There's much more to unfold. So follow your soul on that one.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions or contributions to the field, I'm feeling that we are complete with today's transmission. There's a lot of information packed into a very short space of time. So do hope that you may receive what is supportive to you. And anything that's not, welcome to send it direct to the recycle bin. Don't take on anything that you can't digest or your system can't digest or whatever doesn't belong to you. Because only you know what is true to you. And for those that this journey today does resonate with, we do hope that you will receive the gifts of the Gong dragons and their benefit as it helps to awaken our own ancient DNA and potential of our evolution as a species. So let us ask Casey to bring us to closure as we return fully intact onto the earth plane.
Thanking everyone for being here in circle today and those who will join us on the replay. Knowing that you were in circle with us this whole time. We're thanking our guardians of our ancient lands who keep us, who hold resonance for these ancient spaces, and who allow us to step in resonance with them, to step back onto these ancient lands, these sacred spaces on the physical plane, enabling for our soul self-remembrance to come online as we step back into the pathways of our ancient selves. Thanking our star families for being here, holding the keys to our star maps and our galactic potential. Knowing that we are ever connected to the field of source through the consciousness of love, that we are held in this space, that we can connect to all that is, that we have access to higher vision points, higher vibrational points than our human spaces allow. Thanking the wisdom from the stone beings, from the mountain beings, from our volcanoes. Thanking the information that flows through the ancient waterways. Feeling forever held by our Cetacean Nation. And knowing that we are coming home to our dragon aspects. Thanking our dragon realm families for being here. Acknowledging that the Gong dragons are again within our awareness fields. And thanking them for their access to this higher information field, this higher field of advancement for our DNA, for our light codes to be turned on, activated in a new way. That we are ever expanding, ever growing. And it is through these consciousness circles that the information that wishes to come forward for the support of all can come through. Thanking our soul family for hearing the calling and stepping into who they are, who they've always been, in order to come back home. Finding each other and forming those circles of love, those circles of consciousness, those soul circles. It is through these soul families that we are able to find the deepest healing, that we are able to find the deepest connections, beyond our incarnational experience. It is through these soul bonds that the advancement of the whole can take place, that the communities can come together, and that the family lands can be established, helping those to step back into right relation with themselves and to the earth, helping our new little star beings to step back into remembrance of who they are and who they are supposed to be, holding the keys to their magic and their unlocking of their advancement and abilities, encouraging their soul sparks to come online, and allowing them to fulfill their destiny in the best way possible. Surrounded by these communities of love, these soul families. This is our vision for the future that we anchor into the now. Through the expansion of the heart field, we are forever grateful for our connection, our amplification of love through all things that we see, feel, hear, and experience through our human bodies. Stepping more fully into your human body now, we will come back into our individual pillars of light, disconnecting from the realm of the whole in order to step in more fully to our human selves and walk our human journeys again. When you are ready, breathe a little deeper into your bodies and add a little gentle movement. Stretch and feel all parts of yourselves. And slowly open your eyes and come back in.
Thank you very much, Casey. Thank you to the Gong Dragons. And thank you for being here in Bali and weaving with me in person for this special time of change. And the enormous amount of information that's coming through to be able to support comprehension and digestion of it is really appreciated. And thank you all for showing up on this call today. Thank you all for joining us. And thank you to the wonderful salt waters, sweet waters, and warm waters of this extraordinary port in West Bali. Much love, everyone, and we look forward to meeting you again on our full moon in 2 weeks' time. And I'll send details out soon.